There's more ways than one to get lost on the back roads out there. I almost found that out the hard way. I was with my college sweetheart at the time, Lisa. We both had a few years in the workforce after graduating, and we were already burnt out. If there was a Resilience 101 course in college, we would have failed spectacularly. She was working as an accountant at the time, and I had just quit my job as a civil engineer. You know what would cheer us up? Never having to work again. The Great American Road Trip. I agreed to it, of course. It seemed like a good idea. I mean, how many people don't dream about driving across the United States in an open car? We were barely out of Sacramento when we reached the edge of the Mojave. I'd actually never had driven out of the state up to that point, so I was lost. I stopped at an isolated gas station. I told Lisa that I needed to use the restroom, but it was really because I had no idea where we were going. I got out of the car and told Lisa I was going to the restroom, but I walked behind the station where the men's bathroom was and whipped out my phone. I couldn't let Lisa know that I got us lost. I had no job. I couldn't let her know I was so hopeless that we were lost in this day and age. I looked down at the bars. Empty. There was no reception out there. We really were lost. I went in to buy water, but really to ask for directions. There was only one person there, a balding middle-aged man reading one of the magazines of the stand. It was a small gas station, 1 fridge for bottled water and Coke, 2, even if you want to be generous, aisles full of corn chips and bags of nuts. Suffice to say, the gas station only made its money from desperate travelers on an empty tank. I handed over the cash and in my best casual tone, I went, "So, you wouldn't know the roads to Tucson, would you?" The gas attendant smirked. "Lost, huh? No phone reception? You'd think in this day and age, right?" He smirked again. "Go about 50 miles straight ahead and take the right on the fork. You'll go down off the highway, but it's a shortcut to Tucson. Keep going straight for 20 miles and you'll join the highway again. Saves you 6 hours. Thanks, mister." I hopped back into the car and checked Lisa's legs resting on the dashboard. Damn, I was a lucky bastard. "You got lost and asked for directions, didn't you?" She had seen right through me. "I tried my phone first. I couldn't get reception either. So where we headed? 50 miles straight and then right on the fork." "Right on, cowboy." I have to admit, Lisa was right making me go on this trip. With the wind blowing through our hair, vistas on the horizon, it made me feel like we were carefree and back in college. We finally reached the fork. "Right?" Lisa said. "Right." We turned right, and the cactus-filled deserts actually started to be filled with trees and shrubs. A few miles on, and there was tall grass on either side of the road. I guess cacti weren't the only things growing out here. A few more miles and we turned a corner. It was just 60 yards ahead before I screeched to a stop. There was a car across the road, and what looked like to be 2 bodies out on the road, just laying there. "I think they're dead," Lisa said, covering her mouth in horror. I leaned over the dashboard, as if a few extra inches was supposed to provide more clarity. "Should we call an ambulance?" I asked Lisa. "Of course we should." She whipped out her phone. "Crap," she said. "Still no reception." She dropped her phone and turned to me. "We have to go help them. We can't just leave them there." "Yeah, of course. Right." I started the car again and only went a few yards before I stopped. I looked at the road ahead of us. There was 2 bodies, the car across both lanes of the road, and long, tall grass on either side. But there was no signs of an accident. The car was in perfect shape, no shattered glass. Even though we were 60 yards away, the bodies didn't look mangled or bloody. I just stared. "What are you doing? Drive! We have to help them!" Lisa was almost hysterical. I just kept staring. I had the worst feeling. "Doesn't this seem strange to you?" I asked Lisa. To this day, she has never given me as filthy as a look as she did that day. "The only thing that is strange is that you're not driving." "But how did they get there? Their car doesn't even look damaged. It's almost like it's blocking the road. I'd have to go partially off the road to get around it." She was almost incredulous now. "Then don't drive around them. Help them." "Lisa, I'm going to drive slowly around them. I'll get on the other side, and if everything's okay, we'll get out and help." That has to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We stared at each other in silence for a few moments before I turned on the car again. I kept the car at a really slow speed. 40 yards away, the scene came into better view. There may have been a few scratches on the car, but it definitely wasn't damaged. When we were 20 yards away, I saw no glass, nothing, just two perfectly healthy bodies laying on the road, a man and a woman. I looked over to Lisa. She looked at me. "Keep driving," she ordered. We reached the bodies on the road. They were a perfectly healthy man and woman. Out of the corner of my eye, I could see the tall grass shaking, and my instincts kicked in. I floored it and nearly crashed my car myself. In a few seconds, I had reached the other side, and through the rearview mirror, I could see the man and woman lying on the road. Stand up. They looked right at us. In astonishment, I stopped the car. Lisa and I were just stunned. The man yelled out, "Hey, come back here!" And that's when it became downright terrifying. There was one man who stepped out of the tall grass on the side of the road, then two women on the other side. Before we knew it, there were about 40 people on that road, around that car, all of whom had walked out of the tall grass. I sat there with a lump in my throat. I could never even begin to know what I just avoided. Why these people pretended to be dead. What these 40 or so people would have done to us if we stopped and got out of the car. Then they started taunting us, waving their arms at us. I was so disoriented that I drove off as fast as I could. I'm pretty sure I broke the land speed record. I was driving that fast. We got off the road and back onto the main highway. Lisa and I didn't speak the entire time until we reached the first small town we could find. We told the sheriff and pleaded with him to stop those people, whoever they were. The sheriff shrugged his shoulders and checked it out, but found nothing. No people, no car. We filed a report with the FBI, but we haven't heard back. So, I'm just writing this to tell you to be careful. The Great American Road Trip is something we all dream about, but there are roads out there that, well, I just don't want to think about what could have happened that day. Thank you for listening to I Will Never Ever Stop to Help a Stranger on the Side of the Road by No Deal 9616. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like. And if you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe and become a resident of Hill Street and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. And I hope all of you have a fantastic night.